Well, good evening. We're just a few minutes behind the 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, but we are here. We are in the room, and I have Miss Samira again tonight with me. Of course, I think it was a national holiday last week. The debate was on, so of course, hey, we bowed out gracefully. But we're back Tuesday motivation and conversation, and so um, if you are chiming in tonight, definitely make sure that you check into the chat. So if you have any questions, that we can address those. So good evening, Samir. How are you today on this Tuesday, ma'am?
I am well. We are
Good,
trying to
good,
deal with
good.
our technology issues, but we're here. We're good. We're ready.
Absolutely. We making it do what it do.
Yes.
Yes, we're making it do what it do. So of course, last time um we talked about elevating your brand, and we're going to talk about that again tonight. And we're going to go a little bit further as it relates to giving you some examples, showing you some visual communication concepts. And so Samir's going to go into that a little bit, and we're just going to kind of, have some dialogue because the whole thing, the whole point of this is to come off of the floor of your branding and your marketing and take it to another level. And this is what's so important. There are so many people, and I know with what I do, I have clients all the time that are doing various types of projects, books. For the most part, a lot of authors. I have first-time authors, and some of them are repeat authors. Self-published, so I do the entire process from end to end, including graphics and all of that kind of thing. And so I work with a team to make sure that they have a marketing package once they complete their project, because that's important. Because one of the main things about doing a project is then marketing that project so that people
Yes.
know that you
Yes.
have a product, right? That you have an item, that you have a service,
Yes.
whatever that may be. And so one of the things that I always, talk to clients about is before we conclude with this particular project, how
Mhm.
is it that you're going to market it? Do you have a website? Are you planning to do this just on social media? Do you have an email list? How is it that you are going to make sure that people are able to get your product, get your book, so forth and so on? Because just putting it on Amazon doesn't mean that everybody's going to see it and that everybody's going to purchase it, right?
Right.
So that goes into other things. So you have book launches, or you have grand openings, or whatever the case may be,
Mhm.
to initiate, right, that
Mhm.
visual communication of the product or service that you're offering. So this is also very, very, very important. And
Mhm.
so this is, here again, which is why, we're taking the opportunity to share this information. And this is what this platform is about, helping you through the vision, and it's all about vision. It's all about
Mhm.
the things, and we talk about to motivate you, and the conversation is to encourage you in whatever your endeavor is. So, Samir, talk to us a little bit tonight about some of the things that you found to be pertinent, and of course, in elevating the brand beyond that. So, of course, I utilize a new author. So,
Mhm.
that's one example. But it
Mhm.
may be a product, it may be cupcakes. It could be a lot of different things, be a
Right.
food item. What are some of the things that we can, kind of go a little bit deeper about tonight, to show our audience? And thank you to those of you who are joining. If you'll do us a favor and share this link, share it on your social media platforms. This is a pain point for a lot of, you know, uh,
Business owner.
business owners, and aspiring business owners. A lot of people are really intimidated to really go into being a business owner because the whole
Absolutely.
marketing piece
Mhm.
is a beast by itself, right?
Mhm.
And in this vein that I'm in, I see it all the time, people trying to figure out, how to spend their advertising dollars, how to, determine
Mhm.
their marketing budget, that kind of
Mhm.
thing. So there's some things we can do ourselves, and then
Absolutely.
there's some things as you grow into your business that you'll be able to or want to pay for to go to that next level. So what would be some of the things, Samir, that you would share that we could definitely utilize to help ourselves as entrepreneurs and sole proprietors?
So basically, I thought about all the things we talked about last week, and I spoke to a
Mhm,
couple of people who were on the call and kind of just got their feel for it and anything that they needed more clarity on or anything like that. And I
mhm,
think kind of wanted to just go over the basics again. So when we talk about brand elevation, it's not necessarily that you want to be a luxury brand or like anything
Right.
like that. What you want to do is elevate to whatever your ideal customer is. So
Mm-hmm.
Walmart is not a luxury brand, but it's a
Right.
very wealthy brand.
Right.
So when we
Right.
talk about elevation, we're not necessarily talking about the type of product or the type of customer. We're talking about getting to the ideal. So elevating to the
Yes.
level you want to be and to the customer you
Yes.
want. So that I
Yes.
want to clear that up. So it doesn't matter what type of business you have. It could be, a blog, it could be, a Fortune 500. You just want to get to your target audience. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
with that being said, that's the first step.
Mm-hmm.
Identifying your target audience and knowing
Mm-hmm.
who they are, where they are, what they want, and
Right.
that's how you reach them, and that's how you elevate to that level. So I can post something saying that I have a book coming out, and it could be, say, it's a spiritual book.
Mm-hmm.
So that gives me an idea of what the graphics need to look like, what the messaging needs
Mm-hmm.
to be, all those things.
Mm-hmm.
Say I have a
Mm-hmm.
cookbook. We are doing the same thing. We are both launching a book, but that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't necessarily mean that our target audience is the same. And
Absolutely.
so starting with that, that's the first part, just aligning with what you do, the clarity part of it. That's the
Yes.
first part of like, who
Absolutely.
are you trying to
Absolutely.
reach? It's the visual
Absolutely.
clarity. And I think
Absolutely.
that's the easiest way to kind of say it. So a
Mm-hmm.
children's book, you're not trying to give it to the same person. So
Yes.
that's the first thing I think
Mm-hmm.
for like the presentation I had is basically like the keys of like where to go. And the first thing really is your target audience. Like, who
Yes.
are they? What do they
Right.
want? What's
Mm-hmm.
their problem? How do they want to be spoken to? There's like personas, archetypes. Like I was talking to my husband about his brand archetype, uh,
Yeah.
all those things. And we skip over that part. And that's the
Mm-hmm.
bread and butter of how to
Yeah.
elevate your brand. That's
Yeah.
exactly how to do it because it
Yeah.
sounds like jargon, but that's
Mm-hmm.
really how to do it. So that was kind of like what I wanted to really clarify from last week.
Oh, that's good. That's good because that's a very pointed point because clarity is that's the key to it all.
Mhm,
And it's like I say about my clients, it's coaching them to clarity first.
mhm,
Because if you don't get clear, if you're not clear about who it is you're serving or who
mhm,
it is that you're trying to service with a product, then it's going to be difficult for you to put a plan in place, whether that's a marketing plan, branding plan, whatever that is.
mhm,
You have to be clear about number one, what it is that you're doing in your audience. So that is perfect. And it is definitely where a lot of people have some, blurred vision
mhm.
because the clarity is not totally there.
Right.
So they're clear about what they want to happen, but are you clear about the people that you're to serve? Because that's important. And
Right.
that's going to help you to draw the right people based on how you market it and how you put it out there.
Right. So like one of the main like you have brand persona. So you have the demographics of like where do they
Mm-hmm.
shop? What do you have all that. But
Mm-hmm.
one I think key thing that we don't talk about is the archetype. So it's kind of like, is your person like the wisdom seeker? Is your person rebellious? Is your person, the artist, the, creative person? Once you
Mm-hmm.
know that, not only do you know who you're talking to, you know how to talk to them. So
That's
if they're
true.
a wisdom seeker, now I know I need to give you, information. I need to appeal to your
Mm-hmm.
intellect. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to have like playful fonts or playful this and playful that. Like it's
Absolutely.
more of just like
Professional.
bread and butter. Yeah, cut straight to the point. If you're
Yeah.
talking to financial people, they want numbers. They want,
Absolutely.
so your
Mm-hmm.
visual, even though
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't seem like a visual, your visual is like data analytics, your infographics, like all those things. That's all still visual communication.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes to the brand elevation. I didn't have time. I wanted to do, my mom has a friend she's starting this culinary company based on
Mm-hmm.
her daughter's story and just trying to I guess the importance of like eating right. Like her daughter,
Mm-hmm.
she passed away from complications from diabetes, and so that
Mm-hmm.
became her messaging. She would not have the same like menu or presentation of like a a restaurant that's just trying to, have an experience, or it's like, trendy or
Mm-hmm.
something like that. Her branding would be towards a cause. It would be towards, like, she would be telling her story. She would be doing those things. And so
Mm-hmm.
she would be appealing to people who actually care about the cause. And then the food is a bonus. Like, you'll still
Mm-hmm.
get those
Yeah.
people because they're here for the food,
The
but just know
cause and the
that you.
health benefit.
Right, exactly. So
Mm-hmm.
the health benefit, like your story, like supporting you and all those things are
Sure.
important. So, even the way that you lay something out, you would put the cause, make it broad, make it like,
Right.
visible. So
Mm-hmm.
that was one thing. The next step I would think is the market, like knowing your market, knowing the need, knowing the basic, business stuff, the trends and all those things and your competition within that market.
Mm-hmm.
So then
Mm-hmm.
thirdly, now it's like knowing your brand, because now you know where you fit into that. Now
Mm-hmm.
you know that you actually say you're the rebellious brand. Like say you're you challenge the status quo, you want to be different, your designs are different, or um like say like Airbnb, they
Mm-hmm.
wanted to challenge hotels, they wanted to challenge lodging.
Sure.
So they don't necessarily seem rebellious in nature, but they're challenging the status quo.
Yeah.
So now you know how
True.
you fit, and that's how you begin your messaging. Because what we
Mm-hmm.
want to say is like, oh, come to us, we're great. And I'm like, that's
Mm-hmm.
not a message. Everybody wants to say that, everybody believes that, but you don't know what you're speaking to, or you don't know who you're speaking to, until you know those first two parts. Like that, once you know those first two parts, the market and your target audience, now you know how you're different. Now you know how you solve their problem. Now
Yeah.
you know what makes you stand out. And so you
Yeah.
can't skip that part. You cannot
Yeah.
skip that part.
Right. I know and I know that to be so very true because like for myself, the pen to paper it's an amazing setting. It's an amazing conference and or workshops. We do both. However, one of the things that has always been intriguing to people is we get people from reality, from vision to reality, from revelation to manifestation. Well, that's a lot, but it's that piece that draws the attention of the people. And so what I wanted to say is we're not trying to tell them everything in what we, put in our branding and our marketing, but we want to say enough, that draws them based on, the level, the intelligentsia, the creativity, the innovation of the person,
Mhm,
because there's just so much there. I can't
mhm,
even necessarily give the specific
mhm,
benefit. I just know that everyone has a benefit and an impact. But I had
mhm.
to work on consolidating a precise and concise message that
Yes.
would grab the attention. So what I get is I get people to ask the questions. And so when they ask the questions, then I can talk about what maybe their need may be and how this can benefit them. Right. So I wanted to say that to say, because don't be discouraged if you start a marketing and you don't get people just swarming to you. What you want to do is to draw them for at least being intrigued enough to reach out and ask questions,
Mhm,
because it
mhm.
takes time to build it. And then you become known for a particular thing.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And then your visual presentation of that, like you post stuff or your content, you show books that you've launched, you show client testimonials, because that's very important to your business.
Mm-hmm.
Like if
Mm-hmm.
you're working with people one-on-one, that's very important to know this is real social proof. Like these are
Yes.
people who act, so you wouldn't just keep saying this. You put the people in there, and
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
use like user generated content, you repost
Mm-hmm.
their stuff, you do these things, you
Mm-hmm.
show, like how you like you have a team to do like your illustrations and stuff like that. So you present the book so you understand like, hey, I have all this to add. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not
Mm-hmm.
just, a lot of coaches are like, I tell you what to do, and hopefully you do it.
Yeah.
It's, I'm there for the process, and I take in comprehensively all of it. So I know if you
Absolutely.
grow later, I know if you're working on even just the personal side of it, just knowing
Yeah.
like who you are as a person, you encompass all of that. And so that's what you show. And that means a lot to people, because now everyone's a coach, everyone's a this, everyone's a that. And it's like, it's easy
Mm-hmm.
to tell people what to do, find the
Sure.
information, but to walk them through it and to have social proof and to really
Yeah.
have so much experience in so many different areas so
Yeah.
you can bring in like innovative solutions or problem solving.
Sure.
That's the difference.
Sure.
That's not the same.
Absolutely.
So the way that you show that, that makes people stop. Because if not,
Yeah.
I hear it from everybody that,
Yeah.
they can do this, you can do that. Okay, okay. Like, then
Yeah.
why not go to a publisher? Publishers
Yeah.
do all that for you.
No, they're not.
Right.
And that's important. And one of the things I was really intentional about was researching what publishers do and what they
Mhm.
offer. So
Mhm.
when people would come to me, especially if they would ask about the price, because it's normally, well, I
Mhm.
could go to a
Mhm.
publisher. No,
Mhm.
you'll get this, but you won't get that.
Yes, yes, yes.
And what you get is really a systematic product that's if you went into a store and pull something off the shelf. The personality, you don't get that. The intentionality, you don't get that.
Mhm. Mhm.
You don't get the caring and the caressing.
Mhm.
You don't get the hand holding. None
Mhm.
of that
Mhm.
comes with
Mhm.
a publishing company.
Mhm.
I offer that. So
Mhm.
my services are different and unique because I offer that. And
Right.
so I'll walk you through the process of from it's end to end process. It's an end to end
Mhm.
price, an end to end service. So at the end of the day, that's what you pay the premium for those services.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
that's good. And so um,
Mhm.
do you want to move to the next piece as far as kind of talking about some of those basic pieces?
Um, yeah, I know a lot of people were asking about like the resources we talked about last time, and
Yes.
I can go through them. I can go through them as like easy to show how easy it is. If you had to do these things
Yeah.
on your own,
Yeah.
like how that if you're capable or the free resources of how to use some of them.
Sure.
Some of them might be just a little too
Yeah.
complicated to do in, a few minutes. But
Yeah,
um,
something basic so they can get an idea. It's not as difficult, and sometimes it just takes a little bit of time, but at least
yes.
people know that the opportunity is there.
Yes. So, let's see. Let me pull up.
And while you're pulling that up, Samir, the other thing I want to share when we're talking about elevating your brand, one of the things, and it's kind of holistic here on this platform, motivation and conversation, and that is to help you in various areas. So helping you with clarity, helping you with vision, helping you to
Mhm,
understand the endeavor that you're trying to implement and execute.
mhm,
In elevating your brand, you're elevating your thinking and your mindset about what it is that you're doing. Because if you're not embodying that particular thing, whatever that is, and
mhm,
how you talk about it, because you have to be ready and on point. And so you want to make sure that you stay in your lane with that particular piece. And so you want to make sure that it also, as much as possible, aligns with what you purpose to do or what you have a passion for, so that
mhm,
when you're in that position situationally, you can, it can ooze out of you, right? You just begin to talk
mhm,
about it. And that alone, even if a person doesn't really, was never really interested prior to, and they just saw some graphics, once they listen to you, once they hear you, once they hear the passion and they feel, your level of excitement about it, that's the part of the brand as well, right? So
mhm,
that's like putting
mhm,
the icing on the cake when
mhm,
someone comes to you and asks, well, tell me more, right? And so
mhm.
all you need is that door to open, just to get your
Yes,
toe in there, for a person to ask you a question and give you the opportunity to tell them more about
yes,
what it is that you're offering about whatever it is you're doing.
yes. And then part of that as well is that um that's the visual part of it because if
Hmm.
you're seeing so much advertising and like things are, moving at such a fast rate, especially like digitally, like social
Hmm.
media and stuff like that,
Sure.
if I see something that it's like that doesn't pertain to me,
Hmm.
if it's not communicated correctly, but if it's like,
Yes.
oh, these are the right colors, this is the right like style, this is something that intrigues me, this is the right form of content, short
Hmm.
form videos, like a quick post, or this or that, like I personally, I scroll past long videos because I don't have the attention span. But if
Yeah,
it's short form and it's quick or whatever, it catches my attention. And
sure.
so just knowing that, that's the part of the visual communication, knowing what your audience wants and what they consume. Where are they? Are they on, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, whatever, knowing all of that. So that goes back to knowing your customer. And it aligns with what you said when you said, I did the research of
Mm-hmm.
what these brands or these publishers did. And
Mm-hmm.
so maybe a person who doesn't want all that is not your customer, but
Right.
a person who does and they want that individual like experience, then that is your customer. So
Sure.
again, you did the research to know exactly
Mm-hmm.
who to talk to.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it makes a difference when you can distinguish the two because it depends on what the person's, goals are, what's their
Mhm.
endeavor. And I have no problem saying now, if you need this, then I'm your person. But if you're
Mhm.
looking for that, then I'm
Mhm.
not your person because
Mhm.
every client is not my client. Every customer is not my customer,
Absolutely.
right? And so I can serve somebody, but I can't serve everybody. And
Mhm.
so that's the thing we have to realize as entrepreneurs and solopreneurs. And not only that, but just realizing that it takes time to build whatever it is. And it's going to take, you just staying with it, being consistent, and moving forward in it.
Yes, for sure. For sure. Let me see. All righty. So I think I could share my screen now and then hopefully it just
Mhm.
works. All right. So is there a way, can we list I could put it on the screen too, but maybe a place I could post it where all these free resources are so that people know.
Sure. Sure. So we can post it in the comments.
Okay. Because
Yeah.
I know I sent you the picture of it, but I don't know how you would
Hmm.
post that.
Yeah, I can post it on this particular in the chat on this particular episode. And that
Okay.
way they can go back and grab it.
Okay. So let's share my screen. Let's do here. All right. So one of these programs, this one is called Photopea, and you can actually do mock-ups here. You can, work with templates to do all kind of things. There's something called a PSD file. So basically, this is a free version of like a Photoshop. So if you wanted to make your brand look more professional, you wanted to say you were having like you have your pen to paper conference and you wanted to highlight it because it is a bigger event,
Hmm.
like a billboard ad or something like that.
Hmm.
You can do that without actually having to go and purchase the things or
Sure.
have the ad spin and all that stuff on it. So basically what these are called are mock-ups. You can do
Mhm.
them for stationery, you can do them for graphics, like social media posts, anything like that. You
Mhm.
can do it for products, anything like that. Um, so it kind of eliminates if you don't, or if you're in a bind, like say you need something quickly, or you need like say a proposal for a client without having to buy everything you need to do whatever you need to do for them. You can mock these things up. You could take their logo, mock these things up, and basically show them what it would look like. So again,
Mhm.
visually communicating, hey, this is what this sign would look like. So if we're talking about signs, this is a professional template sign. Say you were doing something for a coffee shop, maybe you would have like a chalkboard sign. You can do a
Uh-huh.
like that. Say you were doing something for like a child, maybe you would have like a classroom sign. So
Mhm.
again, that's tailoring it to whatever industry or whatever you need to do. So you upload the mock-up, and the first thing you would do is, I don't know how well they could see, but this is as good as as close as I know how to get it. But here in the on the right side, there are things called smart objects, and smart objects are actually the part of the design that you can change, that you can customize,
Okay.
you can put your information in and all those things. So you would double click on the smart object. Smart
Mhm.
objects all have these there's a regular square and then there's a tiny square in the corner. So smart objects all have these squares. Look on YouTube for Photopea like tutorials. They so many out there. They will help you, and I'm telling you, you can get it within a few hours. You might get stuck on something, but somebody always like has a
Yeah, yeah.
solution. So double click on what's called the smart object.
Mm-hmm. And that's the little square in the corner.
Right. So you will double click on
Mm-hmm.
the square in the corner, and
Mm-hmm.
then it will bring up the actual design that you want to um it will bring up that part of the design that you can customize. So
Okay.
go here, and then so that's what this is. So these are all these tools that you can do. It's a lot to explain in this, so I'm just going to actually demonstrate it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Of
so we'll just
course.
go through, I'll grab a rectangle. This thing better work now that we're doing it. I'm gonna grab a rectangle, and I'm just going to that's to make it a color. So now it would be a color
Okay,
if I wanted to do that.
okay.
I'm gonna make it white. Make it white. And then I'm going to add some text.
Okay.
And we will do a text box. What's this one? So I'm just going to type my initials. Oh, well, maybe not.
Jumped outside and didn't it? Yeah.
Okay, why is it being like this?
You know, when you want it to work and do what it's supposed to do, that's when it
Mhm.
doesn't want to cooperate.
Yeah, it
There
didn't.
it is.
All right, so we're just gonna do that for now. So then we're going to hit save smart object. So basically you're always gonna save the design that you're on.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll go back to the original tab, which is here. And just like that, you have a sign with your initials, professional looking, anything you need.
Wow.
You can always say, I wanted to add a photo or something to this. I would
Mm-hmm.
go back. So remember in this tab, when you double clicked here, it opened a new tab with the smart object.
Mm-hmm.
So always
Mm-hmm.
go back to the smart object tab and
Okay.
say you want to add like a photo or a logo or something like that.
Okay.
So we'll add one, hit file. What is it? And then you're going to hit open and place. I don't even know
Mm-hmm.
if I have a logo. Let's go to, I'm working on something for Evangeline again, so I'm gonna actually just use the logo I have of hers.
Okay.
Is a H. So say this was a logo.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll place it here. And then you can make it as big or small as you need it, however you want.
She does do an amazing job.
Thank you, whoever said that. And then save the smart object again. And then go
So
to
that's the key to make sure each time
save it, because you'll be
you
like,
save
where's
it.
my
Mm-hmm.
design? So then you
Save
go
your smart
to
object. Mm-hmm.
the first tab, and there it is placed. And you just have a regular mock-up, professional looking. So that's that. And you all, so then you, if however you have it, however you, when you get it the way that you want it, you just hit export as, and then you can export it
Mm-hmm.
as any um kind of file you want. PNG usually is for like really detailed images and stuff like that. JPEG, nah, not so much. SVG is if you want to scale it, make it bigger, smaller.
Mm-hmm.
But PNG, so just hit it, PNG, and then it'll render it for you, it'll download it for you, and it'll,
So just let's pause there for just a second. So
okay,
let's talk about these file types.
okay.
So because a lot of times, we are doing most in general when I do graphics, and I hopefully they look fairly decent. I do PNGs, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think a lot of times people don't know. So when you're sending images, and this just free. I'm just putting it out there. When someone reaches out to you and say, "Hey, send me your logo or send me, what you want to go into this commemorative book. If you're doing an ad for your business, do not send a PDF.
Mm-hmm.
You want to send a PNG file. It's
Yes.
going to have the best quality for your
Yes.
business. It's going to
Yes.
represent you better. And
Yes.
when they get it and it's a JPEG, or I mean JPEGs, sometimes okay, but PNG is better. But definitely not, do not, it's a no on a PDF. Because once that is, if they drop in what you send them and they don't care, now if a person really cares about what they're putting out, they're going to ask you for a PNG.
Yes.
But if they don't really care, then when it's published, it's going to be blurry, it's not going to be
Yes.
clear and crisp, and it's not going to represent you well. So I just wanted to throw
Right.
that out there. So,
Yeah, yes.
um,
So usually for logos, if you need it blown up, so SVG stands for, this is a whole nother class, but SVG
right.
stands for scalable vector graphic. Scalable
hmm
meaning I could blow it up as big as I need to blow up and it will never change. It will never get blurry. It will never, because it's not created by pixels like the little squares in pictures. Is
Okay.
created by mathematic formulas. So it doesn't matter. I'm not smart enough in that area to know what
Right,
that
right, right.
means, but I know that it doesn't matter how big you blow it up, it will never change the quality. Like it will never be blurry around the edges, anything. PNG, it's a uh portable net graphic, portable something.
Mhm.
um but that is for good quality pictures. So it's
Yeah.
quality pixel, like the JPEGs, they have pixels, so it's created by squares. That's why you see it
hmm
so
Those
blurry.
little
So it's like,
squares. Yeah.
yeah, so that's
hmm
where and PNGs you can download by like the dots per square, and like there's all this stuff that goes into it. And so that's why the quality is different. So you always want to make
hmm
sure you have SVG is great, especially if you need to blow, like say you need to make a banner, say you need to make a billboard, something like that. It needs to be like
hmm
SVG or something that was created with an SVG, and the PNG file is just really big for
Yeah.
that. So it's not blurry or anything like that. But that's that. So you download, and then if you go and look at your download, um, I should show up the image. That's the image you created. And it looks professional. It looks, I know it's
hmm
not very designed, but it looks professional.
It's clear, it is
Yeah,
crisp, you
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
And here again, it's all about, just taking that extra time, especially if you're creative. I would encourage you, not everybody's into graphics, not everybody's,
Mhm.
has the patience, number one. It
Absolutely.
takes a special kind of person to have the patience
Mhm.
to deal with, because it can be so meticulous sometimes. And
Mhm.
so you just have to have, I'm a creative. So there are things, this stuff, I we probably could sit here and talk for hours and, not be bothered, because it's a
Mhm.
lane, right? It's a
Mhm.
vibe.
Mhm.
But if in fact it's not your thing to do, but you learn enough to help yourself in the process, one of the things it does is it helps you to be educated when someone does work for you and they send it
Yes.
back and it doesn't look
Yes.
appropriate, then right, in part what it's supposed to look like. So
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, some of these can be tedious. So thanks for that
Yeah.
demonstration. I think I may have figured out a step I missed when I was in there playing around with it.
Okay.
Um, but yeah,
But you can, yeah,
I'm excited to go deep in this one. So I was like, yeah,
yeah.
this is another, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But then too, you can create consistency. So that's like one of the main things. I think I have like an
hmm
example, like my husband, like he has a brand that has product, And to make each and every product is really a lot. And so instead of doing that, so like we can do things like mock up. So like if there's a t-shirt, it's consistent. Every single picture, like say we create like a catalog or something like that. Every single
Mm-hmm.
picture is consistent, every single like item or whatever looks the same. So it's not like this light looks different this time and that time. And it just
Mm-hmm.
takes you having the graphic and putting that on there, and you get a professional touch without necessarily having to do all the work of like, you know, besides the designing of it. So
Yeah.
doing that, like making your catalogs, making like mock-ups for people to show what you can offer a brand, showing like
Mm-hmm.
anything like that. Like there's just a lot that you can show.
Yeah.
And so that visually puts people in more of a space of like, oh, I see my brand's name on something. Like this
Mm-hmm.
becomes more real to me.
Yeah.
Or I
Yeah.
see, you know, it this way or that way. And like you said, being creative and not having
Yep.
to do
Absolutely.
all the extra steps to see it to
Yeah.
fruition.
Yeah. And the thing for me is that I'll see something I want to try, and it's like, I don't really have the time to play with this, but
Yeah.
it's like
To buy
once
all
I
the
get
items,
started,
to do all the, yeah,
once I
yeah,
get started, it's
yeah,
just like the
yeah,
graphics for tonight,
yeah,
those are letters with actual pictures
yeah.
in it,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So that can be used. And so for anybody that's doing, I don't know, something for children or whatever, you just want to be artistically different. I would definitely encourage that. You can take a word and then you can put pictures inside of those letters, or take the letters and put pictures inside of those letters. So that's pretty cool, right? So just different things that, helps to just elevate your thinking and your
Hmm.
what you're putting out there and what you're sharing,
Hmm.
and it's not the same old thing that everybody's doing. And of course,
Hmm.
at some point in time, you're gonna see something that's similar. But I was like, man, this is cool. Let me see how this
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
And
No,
so then
yeah.
you build on it.
Yeah. No, like I was talking to my sister about she's starting like a lifestyle parent blog. And I
Mhm.
was showing her the possibilities because like basically she calls it like hang it in there. And so
Yeah.
she tells funny stories about her family, but then like just a journey about like, you know, being a mom. And so like I had pulled up, I was telling her like, you know, this can be like merchandise. Like this is more than just like what you're thinking, like you're thinking this, but if you show people further of like, no, you really have something to offer, and people
Hmm.
are like, you know, when are you going to post again? When are you going to, you know, do this? I'm like, they
Hmm.
want it. So you don't have to
Yeah.
make it look like that, how, you know, other people, but it can be so much more than what, you know, you're thinking, but this gives
Absolutely.
you that visual clarity possibility, and then comes along the strategy that you know, like
Yep.
so
Absolutely.
all that stuff is just the visual part of it. It just aligns in that way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I am going to make a point to place the list of the various options and things that you can, access in
Yes.
the chat. I'll add it into the actually into the description for this video, for this episode, so you can go back and you can grab that. And then I like to encourage you, start with Canva, and
Yes.
it's constantly, updating and upgrading, and they're adding new things in there. So
Yes.
start there. You start with
Mhm.
the free Canva. Photopea has a free version. So start with
Mhm.
these and just play with it, even if it's just on a Saturday, on the weekends, right? Just start playing with it, and you'll develop your style, because everybody's style is different. For
Mhm.
us creatives, we'll start, because at first when I started playing with those letters, Samir, I had all kinds of pictures and stuff in there, but I was just kind of playing with it, just kind of feeling it out. And I was like, oh yeah, it's some stuff I can do with this. So I can't wait to explore that a little bit more. But start there,
Yeah.
just start there. And here again, thank you so much for coming back and doing a
Yeah.
part two, number
No
one. And
problem.
thanks to all of you who have joined in tonight and participated in the chat. Thank you for chiming in. Listen, while you're here, like, subscribe, and then share this video, right? Share the link with somebody so that they can come and check it out, and it may be helpful to you, especially for just learning how to use Photopea on this simple level. And I know there are various people who do lives and different stuff, and they have YouTube. YouTube has everything, so you can
Yes.
go find
Thank you.
whatever it is. I don't profess to be a technical person, but I don't mind showing you what I know, right?
Mhm.
So definitely, feel free to peruse the previous video, the previous episode where we kind of talked about some things, and Samir showed us some rendering, some results that she had completed.
Mhm.
And definitely there are all kinds of different things that are on my site. So all of those things are things that I created myself. I used to have someone do that for me until I took the time and taught
Mhm.
myself some of those things. So listen, play with it, explore with it, have a good time. Here again, this is a platform, Tuesday Motivation and Conversation, where I talk about all things vision, all things creative, all things about purpose. And so to help you as you endeavor in your quest to get from vision to reality and from revelation to manifestation. Thank you so much once again for hanging out with us for a little while. And here again, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And we'll see you next time right here, same time, same place for Tuesday Motivation and Conversation. We'll see you next time.